what is this? Stay to the end to find out. So I'm back again to try my best to tell you what it is I do and why it might be of relevance to you through the relevance it has had for me. In my last video I talked about sound and the profound improvements it has made to my mental well-being and overall capacity to feel joy. And today, or it's actually the same day, but now I want to tell you about Ayurveda and why I switched from being a regular medical doctor working for the NHS to retraining as a Ayurvedic practitioner. Just rewind back to 2017, and I was working as a doctor, very, very miserable I was working 12-hour shifts sometimes, just like all junior doctors do. And the only thing that was different is that perhaps most junior doctors weren't doing this. I was kind of going very intensely into a yoga program which suggested that I do a lot of yoga in the morning and the evening. So I just did not interpret that loosely. I took it very rigid, which was my own fault in a way. But I was practicing 2 to 3 hours of yoga every morning and then going to work for 8 o'clock and then coming back at 10 o'clock at night and then practicing another 2 to 3 hours of yoga. So within this time I was also fasting, doing all kinds of nonsense and not doing anything fun at all. I actually remember going to the park with a friend and not having any idea what to do with a frisbee because I just could not compute what fun was anymore. I was just so tight. And anyway, I'm a slightly awkward person. And when this contracts and gets tight, it was like pretty uncomfortable for me and anybody who knew me. And despite, doing lots of yoga for quite some years at that point and throwing myself into it, I was even doing the music and the kirtan that I was speaking about, but still something was feeling a little bit tight in me and not really flowing as fully as it could be. I was quite reactive and emotional, and I was recommended to go and have a consultation at the Ayurvedic clinic in London, Croydon, which I did. We all did. We lived in a yogi house. And being my kind of personality, I took everything that was said to me from this Ayurvedic consultant and followed it almost to the T. And this was including things like no coffee, no salad, which I was surprised about, eating coconut rice porridge for breakfast, drinking a tonic made from coriander seeds and taking these little powders before and after every meal. And absolutely no tomatoes whatsoever. So, yes. And I was amazed. So the issues I had were, I had some fungal issues, I had allergies, and generally my brain felt pretty full. I also had something like a kind of nasty fungus on my tongue, which I absolutely could not get rid of with medications that were prescribed. And it was kind of making me pretty miserable, to be honest, all of that combined, plus the lack of sleep and all of that stuff. So I followed this diet and it took these herbs for a few months, and I was absolutely amazed at the effect that this had on my feeling of calm and peace and reducing my reactivity to other people and situations. And I even felt that within our house at that time there was more harmony between us because we were all taking these herbs and we were all kind of going into this. And before that people would call me a salad queen because I would make all these different salads full of all different flavors, sharp, crunchy, sweet. And then I was like, I actually had to let go of those things and go for just nourishing, warming foods. But my body just felt so much better at peace. And my allergies basically went away. I was on the strongest antihistamines before that whenever a cat was nearby, and now I've got 5 cats who I can cuddle, and only if I literally rub one in my eye will it go red. And even then I have a little Ayurvedic balm which I've made, and I just put it on my eye and it goes away immediately. And the other thing was I was given a mouthwash made from cloves, not clothes, and this on my tongue, it disappeared. So I just looked into it and I just felt, oh, this has so much potential. If I have failed to treat some very basic things with prescription medicine, and I've just made a few tweaks to my diet and taken these herbs and fixed these issues, I mean, what else could be possible? And so I did start to look into it. And as my feelings about being a doctor, it reached a point where I felt enough is enough now. And the decision made itself. And I kind of stepped into the void with it all, into Germany, into the Black Forest, and several things. One of them was that I decided to do the training, and it was so healing for me as having gone into a burnout state to just get through my medical school finals. And the other thing was just the understanding behind so many conditions, which, especially autoimmune conditions, for example, that were explained so beautifully and nicely with the Ayurvedic understanding. And I've been seeing patients since. One patient who is just about to have her baby now, and she came to me for fertility treatment. I supported her through 3 rounds of IVF, which were unsuccessful. And then after that, we just said, okay, let's just go back to basics. And she had been taking all the Ayurvedic herbs all through this time. And then once she managed to let go of the stress of the IVF treatments and just settled into her natural rhythm, and she got pregnant so quickly. It was, I think, just a few months later she got pregnant, maybe 6 months after her last IVF treatment. So, and she attributes that completely to the Ayurvedic lifestyle that she'd been following. And she really, again, she followed the recommendations to the T. Many people have also reported great improvements to their digestive health and just their general feeling of well-being and happiness. And yeah, so, and what I also love about it is doing consultations itself, because you actually connect with that person, you connect with the actual person who's in front of you and their constitution, and you tailor the treatment based on them. And there's not like a one-size-fits-all, although there are general principles. And yeah, it's totally natural, it's totally all-encompassing as well. It doesn't exclude the fact that if you break your leg, you should go to the hospital, of course. And the other aspect that I mentioned was moving into nature and feeling that connection again, because this is Ayurveda. So Ayur is life itself, and Veda is knowledge of. And knowledge to me is not just what you kind of put in through book reading. It's like lived experience and knowing. And having lived in a city all my life and in London, and I kind of had this big wall up against nature. Not that I was against it as such, I just didn't get it. And same with animals, for example. I just did not get cats, and now I have 5 cats. Well, they're kind of semi-wild, and one in particular who is like our, he's our dear friend. And the other thing is just that capacity to go into a forest and just be there and enjoy it. I know many people don't have that issue that I have, but it was just this extraordinary melting back into my own sense of myself again, through the external, through nature, and feeling myself a part of it. And this is, in a way, the true aim of Ayurveda, is for us to be able to melt away back from all these things that we think we are and have got caught up into, and feel ourselves as the 5 elements, as one part of nature, not cut off, and in a way completely supported by that. Because as we lean back into the true nature, our true nature, the nature, our natural gifts start to arise. Like I mentioned in another video early on, like I used to love playing music, and this kind of started to come back to me as a very important thing, to be a creative being. And these 2 facets of it, one is of course working with people directly, but the second is to continually embrace nature within and without, through daily life and through activities, through what I eat, through learning how what I put through all the sense doors in can take me away from that. For example, I tend towards a bit of burnout, because running your own business, you have to get quite into computer work. I design websites and all that kind of stuff, and get really into it. It's also my nature, but too much input through here, and it's like the heat starts going up in the body, so the fire element starts to get out of balance, and this throws all the other elements out, and it can make it very difficult to relax in the brain. So that's Ayurveda for me. It's, on one hand, sharing this wisdom in a way that is accessible to everybody. You don't have to be a yogi, you don't have to know anything at all. And on the other hand is to continue deepening in my own relationship with it and life itself. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I shall now reveal to you, since you've stayed for 13 whole minutes to watch this video, what the heck is this? So one of the medicinal treatments, which is very, very good at calming down the fire element, is a drink called coriander cold infusion. And you soak coriander seeds, and I use this tea ball, and I like it because it looks like a coriander seed, a giant golden coriander seed mixed with a golden snitch, and it makes it very easy to comply with the daily regimen of soaking overnight and then drinking the water in the morning. So, okay, lots of love, and I will see you soon, because I have committed to bringing my voice out and sharing what are the things that have brought me joy and health and happiness with anybody else who would like to work on their own and experience that for themselves.